Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Johnny, and today I want to talk about an aspect of spirituality which I'm quite fond of at the moment. And this is, I guess, the concept or idea of embodiment. And embodiment to me means aligning with that spiritual truth, or aligning with the nature of reality, or aligning our human form with that of truth. Because, from an ultimate perspective, everything, the true nature of reality resides within everything. There is nothing that is closer to or further from. But as nice as that perspective is, I wouldn't use it as a means to justify acting in certain ways which cause more suffering to yourself or others. And because in my experience, I feel the more you process, the more layers you shed of egoic identity, the deeper truths you see into the nature of reality, the more at peace you become, and the more compassion and love tends to flow out. If you've ever noticed, when you're in an extremely good mood or you're in an extremely blissful state, you don't feel like doing any harm to yourself or others. If you're in a great mood, you're less likely to engage in harmful activities or engage in harmful substances, because you're just at peace and your cup is full, and you don't need to fill your cup with anything. And your actions and your energy tends to bring up people around you. So embodiment to me is a facet of the awakening process, which comes through, in my experience, healing repressed emotions within the body. Because it's not, these days it's quite not easy, but with all the teachings we have, we can really quite quickly a direct insight into the nature of reality. Very quickly we can see it through all these pointings, or get glimpses or understandings. But I think a lot of people have glimpses and understandings of this truth and sort of think that the path is over for them because they've seen it, and I know there's nothing else they need to do, yet continue to, I guess, act out their emotional material, which, on some level isn't a problem, but on larger scales can be quite harmful. It's my understanding of whenever you've seen cult leaders and stuff like that, I would look at them and be like, okay, they've had real deep spiritual insight, but there's some part of them they haven't looked at, some trauma that's been repressed within the body, which is manifesting as them doing all these actions which are just causing suffering and more dissolution, not bringing people out of the light. Which is, because it's confusing. There's been a lot of teachers, and by their actions, you're like, they had the wisdom they talked about was great. They did a lot of good things, but this was going on behind the scenes. And that is, from my understanding, emotions, repressed emotional material that hasn't been dealt with. And this is a point, is that I don't think a lot of these practices, insight practices, can actually uproot all the trauma and emotional material within us. I think actually there's a lot of modalities, healing modalities, somatic healing modalities from the West that are actually really good at going into our body and digging out repressed material. And I don't see, for me, my understanding of trauma or repressed emotions is I see it as stored identity. So there's a strong identity that's been stored deep within the body, which gets triggered and it comes out sometimes, because we'd be in a non-dual state. And maybe, you might notice in yourself you may abide in a state, but a certain thing triggers and brings out an identity. It triggers usually a deficiency story of some sort, which is connected to some repressed emotional material. And this, to me, is the embodiment process. It's why I've called my channel Emptiness Embodied, because emptiness points to the nature of reality and emptiness itself. And then embodied represents the psychological, somatic healing stuff, which allows this essenceless truth, the unborn, whatever word you want to put to it, manifest through you fully and completely. And I guess that this is my perspective, and this is what I think is a very integrated outlook on spirituality, is insight plus emotional material. Like my meditations in the morning is the first half is spent on somatic inquiry, emotional, and then the second is spent on insight. And to me, it seems very balanced, because you lean too much into non-duality, you become a bit disconnected, and I haven't seen, depending on, it's to unrepress emotions and stuff. It may happen, but it may take a while because they're so deep within the system and we don't want to look at them. And then, I don't know, I think you get too caught up in stories if you are constantly in this state of I need to heal this. It's like you're never actually getting anywhere, because you're constantly just healing. So the integration of the two is, I feel like, the sweet spot for me, and just in my experience. But I'll end this video with just, I guess, a start, where I want to start bringing more emotional stuff into it. I just haven't, because I've been learning a lot of it myself, and I don't want to just drop stuff I'm not that knowledgeable on, especially modalities that can be so triggering and disorientating. So but for the start, I recommend just sitting down and coming into the body and feeling and looking for discomfort within the body. And I'm not talking about like sitting discomfort, emotional discomfort. When you sit down to meditate, where does this arise? And just give it some loving attention. Don't resist it, don't push it away, but just sit with it. Whatever that feeling is, and just sit with it from a place of just being with it, not holding it away, and almost embracing it, loving it, allowing it to be there. And I think that's sort of, if I was to start off with shadow work, that's the direction I would point in. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.